Hi, today we are going to talk about Java serialization. The serialization process is used to convert Java objects into their binary representation. This can be easily stored on the drive or sent via network to another Java program running on a different JVM. The reverse process converting from binary representation to Java objects is called deserialization. By default, you can serialize and deserialize primitives like int, long, and float, objects of class from a java.lang package like string, objects that implement Java I/O serializable interface. Here is an example of class that is serializable. Take a look at our simple serializable class, which implements a serializable interface. A serial version UID attribute needs to be set. Next, come class attributes. We have the int primitive attribute, float primitive attribute, and a string attribute. Next, there is a final string attribute which is serialized just like normal fields. Next, we have a static string attribute which is not serialized because it is connected with a class and not an instance of the class. Next, a transient keyword is used to indicate that this particular attribute will not be serialized or deserialized. Next, we have a custom serializable object attribute. This class implements a serializable interface as well, so it is fully serializable and deserializable. It has a unique serial version UID attribute value. Next, in our simple serialization class, we have a toString method which represents this class object as a string. There are also some access methods available which allow you to set and get class attributes values. Okay, this is a code of a class that can be serialized and deserialized. Now we'll show you how to write a code that does object serialization and deserialization. Take a look. Here is the main class. In the main method of this class, a simple serialization method is being called. In this method, we create a simple serializable class object. Next, we fill it with data. A float data is set. An int data is set. A string data is set. Here we set a string data which is not serialized. Remember, this class attribute is transient, so it doesn't serialize. Next, a custom serializable object is set. This class implements a serializable interface, so it is fully serializable. Okay, here we call a serialize and deserialize method, which takes an object that we want to serialize, and a file name to which we want to store serialized data as arguments. This method code looks like this. Here is an object output stream variable. Next, we need to open a file output stream to the file that we are going to write the serialized data to. This value comes from the method argument. Next, we open an object output stream which embeds the file output stream. Now, there goes a call of the writeObject method of the object output stream class. This method takes an object that we are serializing as an argument. Next, we need to flush the stream to be sure that data is fully written to the file. Okay, the data is serialized to a file. Now let's read it back, deserialize the object and store a reference to it in the deserialized instance variable. We've got an object input stream variable here. Next, we create a new file input stream that is going to read data stored in the file. Next, we create an object input stream object which encapsulates the file input stream object. By calling the readObject method, we deserialize data that is stored in the file. A cast to the serializable interface needs to be made. The deserialized object reference is stored is a deserialized instance variable. Now let's run the code. Messages are written to show what's going on. Here we have data that was set before the serialization. Here's the string value that was not serialized because of the transient attribute. Next, the program is serializing the object. Data is stored in the file here, and now data is being read and deserialized. Here is the result. Look at the non-serializing class attribute value. It's null. Our custom serializable object was deserialized successfully. That was a long code. Do you want to know what serialized data looks like? Let's look at the file. Let's refresh our project. Here is the output file. These are the serialized object bytes stored in the file. Have you ever wondered what will happen if you perform a serialization of an object that is not serializable? Take a look at this code. Here's our class that is not serializable. It implements a serializable interface and has a serial version UID value, so you might think that it can be serialized or deserialized. It contains the same data attributes as before. But take a look at the object reference. This class doesn't implement the serializable interface, so it can't be serialized or deserialized. Let's try to serialize these objects the way we did before. In the main method, we call the simple serialization with arrow method. This method contains the same code as before, but this time we create our simple serializable class with arrow object. This object contains the reference to the class that cannot be serialized and deserialized. Okay, let's call a serialize and deserialized method and see what happens. Let's run the code. Look, an exception is thrown. It's a java.io not serializable exception, which indicates that the customer not serializable object can be serialized correctly. This exception was thrown by the write object method. Okay, I hope you liked this video. We are waiting on your comments. Take care and take IT easy. Bye.